All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of video presentations that are based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series, and we're up to the accessibility section. So we've done the getting started with the web, the HTML structuring the web, the CSS styling the web, the JavaScript dynamic client-side scripting, and the web forms working with user data. So now we've got two parts in here on accessibility, that being accessibility guides and accessibility assessment. I don't foresee this taking a lot of time. It's not at all, I do not in any way mean to diminish the importance of accessibility, but I think the stuff that they have in here, hopefully at least, won't be that long and it'll be pretty intuitive. So learning some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is useful if you want to become a web developer. Beyond mechanical use, it's important to learn to use these technologies responsibly. To help you achieve this module will cover best practices which have been demonstrated previously, cross-browser testing, etc. So when someone describes the site as accessible, the thing I look at, not reading what they have, but what I look at is accessible for any and all. And as it says there, it means that any user can use all its features and content, regardless of how they access the web. All right, especially if they have some kind of an impairment, whatever it happens to be. So as it says here, sites should be accessible to keyboard, mouse, and touchscreen users. Applications should be understandable and usable by people with auditory, visual, physical, or cognitive issues, let's just say. Sites should not cause harm. Web features like motion can cause migraines or seizures. All right, by default, HTML is accessible if and when used accessibly. Web accessibility involves ensuring that content remains accessible regardless of who is using it and how they're using it. The Firefox Accessibility Inspector is a useful tool for checking this out. I've never used it, but feel free to take a look at the associated video. All right. To get the most out of this module, as it says, it would be a good idea to either work through at least the first two modules. Well, we've already done that. So let's look at the guides. What is accessibility? As it says here, this article starts off with a module with a good look at what accessibility is, including what groups of people we need to consider, what tools different people use to interact with on the web, and how we can make accessibility part of the web development workflow. HTML, a good basis for accessibility. So how HTML can be used to ensure maximum accessibility. CSS and JavaScript accessibility best practice. So again, some of the CSS and JavaScript practices that should be used to ensure that your site is accessible as possible. WAI-ARIA basics. All right. As it says, it's a technology that can help people by adding in further semantics that browsers with assistive technologies can recognize. Accessible multimedia. As they mentioned there, video, audio, and image content need to be given proper textual alternatives. Again, let's face it, if someone is deaf, they might be able to watch a car scene, for example, but they're not going to be able to hear it. If somebody is blind, they'd be able to hear the car scene, but they wouldn't be able to see it typed, just as an example. All right. And mobile accessibility, as it says, it looks at mobile accessibility considerations. Then in the next section, we'll go over the assessments that are in there, okay? As it says, we present a simple site with several accessibility issues and then talk about how to diagnose and hopefully fix them. So that was our overview. So let's go down and notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections in here, and one for the troubleshooting. So let's go down to number 2 is what is accessibility? And we'll pick that up right there in just a couple minutes.